Street Journal poll out today gives Senator Bernie Sanders a double-digit lead over his Democratic competitors. Here it is, and we'll stay on this for a bit. He's now at 27%, followed by Biden at 15%, and notably, he is down 11 points since January, Biden is. Then look at third place. Michael Bloomberg surges ahead to 14%, all a result of television ad spending and free media coverage. He is now tied with Elizabeth Warren at 14%. She's been in this race, of course, and slugging it out from the start. And our usual warning applies. That's a national poll. We don't hold national elections. We hold 50 individual state elections. And there are new numbers tonight from the largest of them, California, where 415 delegates are at stake 2 weeks from today. Sanders, 32%, lapping the competition. We're down to Biden at 14, Warren at 13, Bloomberg, Buttigieg have 12 each, Klobuchar at 5. Still with us tonight, Jason Johnson and Julia Yaffe. I want to read, Jason, one more poll, national poll from our polling. Trump 47 to 50. What should those numbers do in the heart of Democrats everywhere, do you think?
Well, I think that they need to make everyone very cautious and very nervous. Brian, I've said this all along, that all of these national polls that were showing that all of the top 4 or 5 Democrats could beat Donald Trump are not true. Those only exist in a vacuum. All of these candidates aren't created equally. Another key thing to remember with these latest polls that have come out, Bernie Sanders is now leading the pack. He's now leading amongst the Democrats, anywhere from 27 to 30%, depending on the poll. But if you look at more polls that have come out recently, he is still maybe second or third when it comes to actually beating Trump. Head-to-head, Donald Trump still seems to lose more often to Mike Bloomberg, more often than Joe Biden. All of this means is that this race is incredibly fluid, that we still have to fight state by state, that the leader in the delegate count is Mayor Pete, who only has 22 delegates to Bernie's 21. So I think anyone who's trying to make a massive sort of hot take prediction, okay, I know it's going to be Kansas City. Anybody who thinks they know what's going to happen doesn't know. And we could begin to find out what's going to happen depending on how Mike Bloomberg performs in the debate tomorrow or how Bernie Sanders performs tomorrow at the first time of him actually being a complete frontrunner.
And, Jason, you know the argument. Tomorrow night is designed to be a kind of purity test. What do? Democrats attack each other. To
Yes.
listen to you, however, they're all in the fight against an existential threat.
Yeah, well, and there are 2 existential threats. One is, what do you do about Mike Bloomberg? Now, look, Mike Bloomberg has plenty of policy issues about race, about what he said about class, about stop and frisk, and he is a cartoon villain for Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. He is Lex Luthor, the mayor of New York City. There are plenty of ways that they can attack him and that they should attack him. But the question is, are you going to waste all of your time going after Mike Bloomberg when he's not the front runner? The front runner is either Mayor Pete or Bernie Sanders. So I think somebody like Elizabeth Warren, who is actually third in delegate count right now, has to be very careful about how she goes into tomorrow's debate because she's still in a position to improve. And I don't know that it makes sense to do a suicide pact to take out Mike Bloomberg when that guy hasn't even gotten on the ballot in the next 2 states.
Julia, I don't say this often. You are the author of one of the better quotes I've read for the past several weeks. You wrote this over the weekend. The Democrats ought to debate policy differences about as much as they should be debating how to cook unicorn meat. Please expand.
I'm so glad you caught my unicorn recipe. So basically, political science shows that these kinds of very contentious primaries are very damaging to the party in the general election, sometimes by double digits. And the worst kind of primary, according to this research, is a primary where purity, ideological purity become an issue. So basically, this primary. And going back to your earlier question, I agree completely with Jason. Democrats should be nervous looking at Trump's approval and disapproval numbers. we keep, or Democrats keep looking at this as if it were 2016
Right.
and saying, well, Bernie could have beat him in 2016 or Biden could have beaten him in 2016. Well, it's not 2016 anymore. It's 2020.
Right.
He's an incumbent who's gotten his act together organizationally. The economy is doing better. And basically, everybody has decided at this point how they feel about Donald Trump. There are no more Republicans who are on the fence about him. There are no more independents who are on the fence about him. Everybody kind of knows how they feel about Donald Trump. So there's very few people who I feel are up for grabs. And the Democrats are just, they're not even shooting themselves in the foot. They're, shooting each other in the foot, calf, knee, whatever, and, debating unicorn meat.
Our guests, there's no depth to the friendship of our guests. They've agreed, again, another quick break for us. They've agreed to take our questions for one more segment, and coming up, we'll do that. What Bernie had to say about Bloomberg just tonight on stage.
Why do